What if your nation's entire future, its very survival, depended on a single pipeline? Well, today, we're diving into the high-stakes energy game being played by the Kurdistan regional government in northern Iraq. It's the story of a nation fighting for its place on the world stage, one barrel of oil at a time.
And that really brings us to the fundamental question here. When you have a distinct people, a unique culture, a real economy, but no official seat at the UN, how do you even begin to secure your future? For the Kurds of northern Iraq, the answer lies deep underground, in their vast oil reserves.
So, at the heart of this story is the Kurdistan Regional Government, or the KRG. Think of it as a self-governing region that's officially part of Iraq, set up back in 1992. Now, this unique status, it gives them certain freedoms, but it also comes with some major constraints.
And here's the tough spot the KRG is in. You've got the Kurds, one of the largest stateless ethnic groups on Earth. Their land is sitting on an estimated 45 billion barrels of oil. That's a massive amount. But here's the catch. They're completely landlocked, surrounded by powerful and, let's be honest, often wary neighbors. Add to that a constant power struggle with the central government in Baghdad, and you've got yourself a geopolitical powder keg.
You know, the KRG's economy basically runs on one thing and one thing only: oil. A staggering 95% of its budget comes from oil revenue. This isn't just about getting wealthy. For the KRG, controlling the flow of that oil is literally a matter of economic survival.
And this slide, well, it really lays out the core problem, doesn't it? A sovereign country controls its own destiny, right? It's got direct access to markets, it controls its own budget, it sets its own foreign policy. But the KRG? It has to ask for permission. It needs its neighbors to let its oil pass through. It has to fight with Baghdad over its share of the budget, and it's constantly performing this incredibly delicate balancing act with all the regional powers.
So, you might be wondering, how does a landlocked region with all this oil actually get it to the rest of the world? Well, it has to build a bridge. And for the KRG, that bridge turned out to be its northern neighbor, Turkey, a country that, ironically, used to be one of its biggest opponents.
And we're not talking about a small shift here. This was a complete 180-degree turn. Ankara, seeing this massive economic opportunity and a stable energy partner right on its border, went from viewing the KRG with deep suspicion, fearing it would inspire its own Kurdish population, to becoming its most crucial economic and political ally.
The scale of this new partnership was just staggering. By 2013, Turkish exports to the KRG were worth over $8 billion. To put that into perspective, this small, autonomous region became Turkey's third largest export market in the entire world. Just think about that.
And this economic integration, it goes even deeper. Today, goods coming from Turkey supply roughly 80% of the entire Kurdish consumer market. From the food they eat to the furniture in their homes, daily life in the KRG is really powered by its relationship with Turkey.
And, where the money goes, investment follows. This boom attracted a huge amount of it. By 2013, about 1,500 Turkish companies had set up shop inside the Kurdistan region, building the very infrastructure of a modern state. We're talking airports, hospitals, housing, the whole shebang.
So here's the bottom line, the crucial point. Turkey provides the physical infrastructure, the pipelines to its port of Ceyhan on the Mediterranean that gives Kurdish oil its only route to the global market. Without Turkey, all that oil in the KRG is just a worthless, landlocked asset.
Okay, but a pipeline is pretty useless without oil to fill it, right? And developing those oil fields costs billions. The KRG was facing a huge financial crisis and the incredibly expensive fight against ISIS, so it needed a massive injection of cash. And this is right when another global power saw a huge opportunity: Russia.
In 2017, Moscow didn't just walk onto the scene, it burst through the door. It all happened incredibly fast. In February, Russia's state-owned energy giant Rosneft agreed to pre-finance Kurdish oil exports. By June, they were signing exploration deals. And by October, they had taken a controlling stake in the KRG's main export pipeline. Yep, the very same one running through Turkey.
The total investment is estimated at a colossal $4 billion. In just a matter of months, Russia went from being a distant observer to the single biggest financial backer of the entire Kurdistan region. It was a game changer.
So you gotta ask, what's in it for Moscow? Well, this was way more than just a business deal. It was a strategic masterstroke. This investment buys Russia huge geopolitical influence. It gives its state-owned companies a major foothold in the energy market. And it gave the KRG a powerful and maybe indispensable new patron. And all of this leads to the KRG's grand strategy today, a dangerous, high-stakes, high-wire balancing act. It's using its relationships with two major and often competing powers, Turkey and Russia, to try and carve out its own space against its regional rivals.
You can think of it like this, and it's actually pretty simple. Turkey provides the highway, that physical route for the oil to travel, but Russia provides the fuel, the massive capital investment needed to get the oil out of the ground and keep the government running. You absolutely need both.
But, and this is a huge but, this whole strategy is a classic double-edged sword. Sure, having powerful patrons like Ankara and Moscow gives the KRG a ton of leverage against Baghdad, but it also creates powerful new dependencies that could, in the end, compromise their whole dream of autonomy.
One of the sources we looked at puts the precariousness of the situation very bluntly, stating that the Iraqi Kurds are essentially doomed to rely on the goodwill of Turkish authorities, and if that goodwill ever fades, their entire economic lifeline could be severed in an instant.
So, after all these high-stakes moves, what's the endgame? Where does this incredibly intricate geopolitical chess match leave the Kurdish people and their aspirations?
The KRG's journey is really a powerful lesson in modern statecraft. It shows that in the 21st century, securing your future might have less to do with armies and borders, and everything to do with controlling energy flows and building powerful economic alliances. For them, pipelines have become national lifelines. And this leaves us with one final crucial question. For the Kurds and for other aspiring nations out there, can these powerful economic partnerships really pave the road to true independence? Or do they just end up trading one form of dependency for another? Answering that, well, that's the real prize in Kurdistan's high-stakes energy game.